Hi everyone, my name is Patricia William. I never thought I'd be sharing this, but maybe my story will help someone recognize the signs I missed. It all started 3 years ago. I was 28 and running my growing interior design firm when I first met Thomas. "We need something modern yet timeless for our new corporate headquarters," he said during our initial meeting. His confident smile and trust in my vision for the space were magnetic. Thomas's compliments became a regular thing. "Your eye for detail is incredible," he'd say, often lingering after project meetings. One coffee date turned into dinner, and before I knew it, we were inseparable. His mother, Catherine, was warm and welcoming from the start. "Sweetheart, you bring out the best in my Thomas," she said while helping me pick wedding flowers. I haven't seen him this happy in years. Our wedding was a dream, and the first months of marriage felt perfect. Thomas showered me with thoughtful gifts and surprise weekend getaways. When I found out I was pregnant just 6 months after the wedding, his excitement seemed genuine. Catherine was over the moon. "We need the most magical nursery ever," she exclaimed, thumbing through design catalogs with me. But then, little things started to change. Thomas's work meetings stretched later and later. Odd charges appeared on our credit card statements. "The market's been crazy," he explained casually. "Just some client entertainment expenses." My best friend, Sarah, noticed first. "Patricia, isn't it strange how he's never home for dinner anymore? And what about those late-night texts?" I defended him, brushing it off. "He's working hard for us." Even Catherine seemed uneasy. She'd give me concerned looks when Thomas showed up late to family dinners, his eyes glassy, his movements unsteady. But she never said anything directly. Victoria, his business partner, made a passing comment at a corporate event. "Thomas has been different in meetings. Is everything okay at home?" I ignored it, focusing instead on my pregnancy and designing the nursery. The pale blue walls and hand-painted clouds were coming together beautifully, just like I thought our life was. Until the night I found the receipt. I was searching for a missing invoice in Thomas's home office when I stumbled across a receipt from a jewelry store. The items weren't for me. That same night, he claimed he was stuck in a budget meeting. "The shop project's behind schedule," he slurred over the phone. "Don't wait up." Looking back, all the signs were there: the missing money, the late nights, the mood swings, the secretive phone calls. But love can blind you to the truth you don't want to face. My truth unraveled in the most heartbreaking way in a delivery room. At 2 a.m., contractions hit like a freight train. Sarah rushed me to the hospital, frantically trying to reach Thomas. His phone went straight to voicemail, 6 times. Catherine arrived minutes later, her face tight with worry. "He's not answering my calls either," she whispered, squeezing my hand as another contraction racked my body. 3 hours later, Thomas finally stumbled into the delivery room. The sharp stench of alcohol announced his arrival before he even spoke. "Why's everyone being so dramatic? It's just a baby," he slurred, barely able to stand. The nurses exchanged uneasy glances. Dr. Chen stepped in, firm but composed. "Mr. William, if you can't compose yourself." A scream tore from my throat as another contraction hit. What happened next plays in slow motion in my mind. Thomas lurched forward, his face twisted with rage. "Shut up. You're embarrassing me." His hand struck my face before anyone could stop him. The room erupted. Security guards rushed in. Catherine's scream mixed with the shouts of the medical staff. "Get him out, now," Dr. Chen commanded, her voice like steel. "That's my son," Catherine cried, grabbing his face. "Thomas, you're high. You just hit your wife in labor. Leave, now." Thomas was dragged out, kicking and shouting. The next 2 hours were a haze of pain, tears, and sheer determination. At 7:43 a.m., Alexander James William entered the world, perfect despite the chaos that had preceded his arrival. As I recovered in the hospital, Catherine went to our house to gather some essentials. When she returned, her face was pale, and she clutched a small bag tightly. "I found these in his office," she whispered, showing me photos on her phone. Hidden compartments revealed baggies of white powder, pills, and drug paraphernalia. There's more, so much more. The truth hit me harder than Thomas's slap ever had. The missing money, the erratic behavior, the late nights, it all made terrible sense. 3 days later, Catherine and I confronted him. She insisted on being there, and thank God she was. "You went through my private things." Thomas's eyes were wild, unfocused. "You had no right." "You're an addict, Thomas," Catherine's voice cracked with pain. You need help. His face twisted with rage as he lunged forward, knocking his desk chair to the floor. You're both crazy. This is my house, my life. You hit your wife while she was giving birth to your son. Catherine snapped, stepping between us as he advanced. Get out. Both of you. With one violent sweep of his arm, Thomas sent everything on his desk crashing to the floor. The sound of shattering glass punctuated his fury. I clutched the photos Catherine had taken, proof of his addiction, proof I wasn't imagining things, proof that my seemingly perfect life had been built on lies. The security cameras caught everything. His aggression, his obvious intoxication, his threats. Catherine insisted we file a report that night. I love my son, she said later, cradling baby Alex as I packed a bag of essentials. But I won't let him hurt you or this precious boy. We need to plan carefully, Patricia. This is just the beginning. Looking at my newborn son, I felt a shift inside me. Fear hardened into determination. Thomas didn't know it yet, but his empire of lies was about to crumble. I just had to be smart about how I dismantled it. The first 2 months with Alex were a blur of sleepless nights and constant vigilance. Thomas's behavior grew increasingly erratic, but I knew I couldn't act until I had undeniable proof. That proof arrived one rainy afternoon in the form of Victoria Hayes, his business partner. We need to talk, she whispered, her hands trembling as we met at a small cafe 3 towns over. Not here. We're not safe here. Victoria pulled out a folder and laid it on the table. Look at these contracts, she said, her voice shaking. The signatures don't match. And these vendor payments, they're going to shell companies Thomas created. My stomach churned as she showed me spreadsheet after spreadsheet. Millions of dollars were missing, traced to accounts I didn't recognize. He's selling company assets behind my back, she said, tears welling up. Last week, I caught him making a drug deal in the parking garage. When he saw me, he said he'd destroy me if I told anyone. Back home, I started digging. Catherine watched Alex while I combed through Thomas's office at night. The evidence was staggering. Your client, the Hendersons, their $50,000 deposit never made it to your business account, Catherine said, showing me bank records. Thomas intercepted it. One night, I found his burner phone. The messages made my stomach turn. Exchanges with drug dealers, explicit texts with multiple women, including clients I recognized. Just closed another deal with Mrs. Peterson, one message read. The stupid expletive thinks she's getting a penthouse renovation. Her husband's money will keep us in powder for months. Victoria called me at midnight, sobbing. The company is weeks away from bankruptcy. Thomas just emptied our emergency reserves. I installed hidden cameras in his office. The footage was damning. Thomas snorting lines off client contracts, making threats over the phone, and counting stacks of cash. You're nothing without me, he screamed one night, high out of his mind. I made you successful. I own you. Catherine helped me document everything. The bruises, the threatening texts, the bounced checks to Alex's pediatrician. We need a bulletproof plan, she said, helping me photograph the contents of Thomas's secret safe. One wrong move, and he'll destroy everything you've built. The final straw came when I discovered Alex's college fund was empty. Every penny was gone. I had some business opportunities. Thomas smirked when I confronted him. The kid's barely 2 months old. Plenty of time to rebuild it. Catherine helped me set up secret bank accounts while Victoria rallied board members who already suspected something was wrong. Tomorrow morning, everything changes, Victoria promised. The board meeting will expose it all. Be ready. That night, while packing Alex's essentials into a go bag, I found a receipt for a storage unit. Inside was the mother lode, detailed records of every illegal transaction, every stolen dollar, every betrayal. It's his insurance policy, Catherine realized. Proof to blackmail everyone if he gets caught. Little did Thomas know, his insurance policy would be his downfall. By tomorrow, his empire of lies would collapse. But first, I had to get Alex and myself to safety. I've got a safe house ready, Catherine whispered, cradling her grandson tightly. Let him walk into that board meeting thinking he's still in control. By the time he realizes what's happening, it'll be too late. At dawn, Catherine drove Alex and me to the safe house. My phone buzzed with a message from Victoria. Board meeting in 1 hour. Everything's ready. From our secure location, I watched the live stream. Thomas swaggered into the boardroom, his trademark arrogance plastered across his face. But his smirk froze the moment Victoria stood up, a remote control in her hand. "Board members," she began, her voice steady and clear. "What you're about to see will shock you." Slide after slide exposed Thomas's crimes: embezzlement, fraudulent contracts, offshore accounts, and drug transactions. The room was silent except for the sharp intake of breath from the board members. Thomas shot to his feet and lunged for the door, but security guards were waiting. His face twisted with fury as DEA agents stepped into view. "You can't prove anything," he shouted, desperation cracking his voice. Victoria remained calm. "Your own records prove everything," she said, clicking to the next slide. A photo of the contents from his storage unit. "Your so-called insurance policy has become your prison sentence." Catherine's testimony was the final blow. "My son is a danger to his wife and child," she declared in court, her voice unwavering. "I have documented his drug abuse, his violence, and his threats. He needs to be held accountable." Thomas cycled through rehab centers like vacation homes, checking in, checking out, and relapsing every time. Each attempt at recovery was more hollow than the last. Meanwhile, my life was transforming. My design firm, Phoenix Interiors, rose from the ashes of my shattered marriage. High-profile clients who admired my strength trusted me with their projects. "Strong women support strong women" became our unofficial motto, and it resonated deeply. 3 years flew by. My studio was thriving, and Alex had grown into a joyful preschooler who loved helping me paint with his toy brushes. "Just like Mommy," he'd exclaim, giggling as Catherine snapped pictures. Her gallery of grandson photos dominated the living room, each one more cherished than the last. On Alex's third birthday, a letter arrived. It was from Thomas's lawyer, pleading for a reconciliation. "I've changed," the letter claimed. "I deserve another chance." I didn't even finish reading it. Instead, I fed it into the bonfire at Alex's party, watching the words crumble into ash. Inside, Alex blew out his candles, surrounded by love and laughter, genuine happiness. In the background, the TV played breaking news. Former CEO Thomas Williams sentenced for fraud, embezzlement, and drug trafficking. "Make a wish, sweetheart," Catherine said, holding Alex up to his cake. Victoria was ready with her camera, capturing the moment. Looking around at my real family, Catherine, who had chosen truth over loyalty to her son. Victoria, who risked everything to expose corruption. And Alex, my sweet boy who would grow up knowing only honesty and strength. I realized some wishes had already come true. "Mommy, can we paint my room blue tomorrow?" Alex asked, frosting smudge across his cheek. I smiled, meeting Catherine's proud gaze. "Of course, baby, we can make it any color you want." Because we were free. Free to create a life filled with joy, integrity, and hope. Thomas's prison sentence was justice, but our happiness, that was the sweetest revenge of all. What would you have done if you discovered your spouse's addiction and betrayal at one of the most vulnerable moments of your life, during childbirth? Would you give them another chance, or would you choose to protect yourself and your child? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.